Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. This episode, first of all, I want to say that there is two people in this episode that left me completely dumbfounded. One person was Bonnie. Take a wild guess who the other person was. Guys, just take a wild guess. So we'll start off with Bonnie. Bonnie today said possibly the worst type of advice that you can give any person on the entire planet. This advice was so ass backwards for so many different reasons. For the fact that she's a woman, for the fact that you would think that she would have some sort of common sense, for the fact that she has seen cases where it just went sideways because this woman offered the worst possible advice, and yet it ceases to amaze me that these words came out of her mouth. And this is when Alex comes in and kind of spoils, Justin and Bonnie's date night. Talks about how Stephanie is the love of his life, and this, that, and the third, and he got to be with her, and, you know, on and on and on. But he's like, Sunny is preventing me from doing that because she works at Titan. And Justin's like, yeah, they have a no dating policy. You, you know, there's a reason for that because of what Sunny been through. And so he tells him, like, yo, you know what, listen, if she doesn't want to, you don't want to push that because you don't want to get a sexual harassment suit. That's not something that you want. You know what this idiot Bonnie said? She said that what he was saying was a load of bull and that he was dead wrong. He was dead wrong for advising his son, not just as a lawyer, but just as a human being, that the advice that he was giving him as far as don't push this, don't harass her, is wrong. She started talking about how people always are afraid and this, that, and the third. And, they don't take chances. And she literally said, who cares if you get sued for sexual harassment? Say this again. Who cares if you get sued for sexual harassment? That has to be the most acidine, stupidest comment I've ever heard in a very long time. And I've heard some things where you're just like, are you even human? Are you on stuff like angel dust or something? Like what's going on in your head? Did you just utter out those words? And if this was one of those cases, then I could just be like, you know what? Listen, you're sober up in the morning. You'll make a little bit more sense. No, no. She was all there. I don't think all cylinders were firing, but she was all there. That's what she said. Okay. As a woman, the fact that that came out her mouth is just, I don't even have the words to describe it because I'm not a woman. I can imagine it would be pretty horrible. And that's putting it mildly. That's putting it lightly. And in the same breath, she contradicts herself by saying, well, of course, if, she doesn't really want to be with him, then, it's no go. And I'm like, so not only did you just say something so baffling and so stupid, but then you contradict yourself in the same breath. What's going on inside your head? Justin, you sure this was a wise idea to sit there and marry this woman who's giving the most god awful advice known to man? That's what she said. That literally came out her mouth. I can't even make that up. Okay, that's what she said. Now Leo finds Sonny with a knife in his back, and at first she's like, "Oh, he's dead." I'm like, "No, this didn't kill him, Sonny. He checks the pulse and he's still alive. Chad comes in there. Chad's like, "You did it." Yada yada yada. He starts yelling, screaming at him. Call the cops. Do something. It's a good thing that Leo did not pull out that knife. Okay. Um. But he called the ambulance. They came. You got Rafe and Jada talking about the case as far as, Leo could have lied, could have made it out. Because Rafe was like, I don't think that Gwen did it. It's just a gut feeling that's telling me that she didn't do it. I believe her. So they're talking about the case. Gets to a point when they start talking about Eric and Nicole. And she's about to say something as far as Nicole is concerned, but she's like, you know what? I'm not going to be that person. So she's like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. Nicole. I want to sit there and say, for the fans that like Nicole, that is your girl. God bless your hearts. Okay? God bless your hearts. She came over Chloe's place to start whining and crying and complaining like a 16-year-old high school girl about Eric being in bed with somebody else. And Chloe throughout this conversation had to remind her, you know you're married, right? You know you're married, right? And, Nicole's like, I'm so sick of everyone sitting there reminding me that I'm married. I was like, boo, do you even have a brain? Do you understand that these people are not telling you this to be rude? They're telling you this because this is reality. It's almost like Nicole came over Chloe's house and wanted her to back her on everything that she said and not tell her the truth. And as much as I don't like Chloe had to be real with her. Chloe, they talk about the sex dreams and everything, and at the end of it, Chloe's like, listen, you need to pick a lane, okay? Because if you don't want to be Rafe anymore, you need to tell him that. And the sad part is that I don't even care about Rafe's feelings after what he did to Nicole. I mean, after what he did to Ava. I don't care. But to not look like a much worser person, she should probably sit there and be like, you know what, this isn't going to work out. I know we did our little quickie marriage, and now apparently she has buyer's remorse. And she just needs to be like, you know what, Eric is back in town, I want to be with him, and just pick that lane. You know what she's going to do. She's going to continue acting. There was one point where she said that she wanted to do a background check on Jada. I'm like, okay, so now you're Karen also? Is this the level that we're going with Nicole? You are crying and whining like a 16-year-old girl and you're acting like a Karen at the same time? God bless the people who like Nicole again. Because I remember when I first started watching the show, I wasn't a fan of Gabby. But now it's just, every time she acts, I guess, like Gabby, I'm just like, just typical Tuesday. But Nicole, on the other hand, I felt like ever since I started watching the show, she's gotten worse. And she is at her apex of just being, you know what? I think that's enough of dumping on Nicole for today. We'll pick that up maybe on Monday. Stephanie runs into, I was about to call him Lucky. Ran into Eric. They get to talking. They start talking about Nicole and his new girlfriend and, her boyfriend or past boyfriend that probably, that she's still reeling over from. And of course, throughout the conversation, she got to bring up Alex. Even when she saw Rafe, she got to sit there and bring up Alex. Alex is this, or he's a lecturer or whatever. Apparently, Rafe had a twin or somebody was having I don't know, a Rafe mask or something. And she was like, oh, it was a proper hug unlike last time, when your other version or something like that. It reminds me of somebody that I know. I feel like the whole Pepe Le Pew thing is just, as far as the reference goes, still going to be there. Because at the end of Bonnie's idiotic talk, Alex is like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're my stepmom," and yada yada yada. Of course, this was the stepmom that was not there touching him inappropriately in the living room that anyone could walk in half naked. Because, that made sense. And I'm pretty sure Justin was there too, and he just watched that whole thing, and it was just like, bro. It's like, can somebody tell me what's wrong with this whole picture? I mean, I get it's a soap opera, but, and I know it's supposed to be a fantasy, but Jesus Christ, it gotta have some sort of limits. Something. Now, towards the end of this episode, Leo goes back to his hotel. He realizes it's the same night, and he realizes that he's being framed. Now, at this point, I can sit there and easily point the finger to Jada. I mean, she's new on the scene. All this stuff started happening. How long have you been in Salem? The matter is, we have no idea who did it. We don't know, and it's getting pretty interesting. Even with Nicole acting like Nicole. Let me just double check my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Now I might have forgot something because I was trying to use my phone and I didn't like how it was coming out, and so yeah, Chad found Leo next to um Sonny's body. So now once again he's a murder suspect. And even towards the end of the episode, when Jada and Rafe were talking, they was like, "Oh yeah, Leo was there, and we were right about Leo." But the sad thing is that they haven't been right so far. It's see, they managed to, I guess, deduce or whatever that most likely Leo was lying about the whole thing. But they can't just sit there and see the fact that Leo already dodged it one time, but yet he went there. He was so sloppy that he went back to Titans and stabbed Sonny, and Chad just happened to be there. Like, I feel like it's so set up where even a rookie cop can sit there and look at that and be like, "This looks like he was a frame job." I mean, come on now. He was already a suspect, and he was a suspect again, and now he's just there with the same knife and the letter. I mean, and the hit list and the blood there. It makes me wonder which one is more. I was going to say which one is more incompetent between Salem PD and Port Charles PD. And if you watch both shows, please let me know which one, because either this killer is really good or the PD needs to level up. I feel like that's about it. I really do feel like that's about it, or at least the most pertinent information. But I will sit there and say that this was an interesting storyline. I mean, this was an interesting episode. Even with Nicole whining and Bonnie giving like the most god awful advice I've ever heard in my life, this was a good episode. Before I go, I guess the guy that plays Bo is also doing this commercial now. About going to Peacock and stuff like that. And some people, it's amazing to me. When I checked, when it was the last one was Peter, and people in the comment section, I swear, I can respect people's opinions to an extent, okay? But if people have enough time to go in the comment section, in the Days of Our Lives section of YouTube, and start complaining about how this one person was like, "Oh, they don't care about old people." And I'm just like, so you took time to sit there and make that comment, but you didn't sit there and take time to take a 5-minute Google check and realize that, well, this has nothing to do with Days not caring about senior citizens, not caring about people that have low income. I mean, that's the whole point of trying to lower it down to $1.99. I got to a point I commented her on that, and I was like, you need to sit there and do your research before you start just typing all angry. You took time to do that, but you couldn't type. I'm like, you have the internet. Take 5 minutes to sit there and do your Googles instead of just being caught up in your feelings and typing based off emotion. This isn't the first time I heard that Days of Our Lives was on the brink of being canceled. This is before a lot of streaming service was active and things of that nature. This is a money thing. They can't support it anymore. They just can't. It's just not feasible. And it makes sense. And listen, if these people got a chance to sit there, still keep jobs, and I'm not talking about so much the actors, but I mean the crew, sound crew, people of that nature, they still have employment. That's a good thing. Okay? Yeah, they have to sit there and move to Peacock, but you know what? They still have jobs. Okay? In an economy where everything is raising their prices, these people still have jobs. I mean, yeah, the actors can always sit there and try to get a job somewhere else, but PAs and things of that nature, those are the people that, I'm glad that they're still working, even if they have to work on a site where people are not understanding from a business point that this needs to happen. This is not an option. This is they either do that or it's done. You know? And it is the most I don't want to sit there and say annoying part just that they're reading those comments, because I understand people have a right to express how they feel. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to sit there and judge them, but I'm like, boo, you need to do your Googles. Okay? You really need to do your Googles. Because that's not going to sit there and make somebody feel better. Information is power. And if you understand why things happen the way that they're happening, you can feel a lot better. For the most part. For the most part. Anyway, I think that's pretty much about it. With that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see everyone in the next video. Most likely, I'm still going to be doing a live on Sunday at 6 o'clock, unless my schedule changes on Sunday, and I got to sit there and work later or whatever. But if everything goes according to plan, it's going to be live streaming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, yeah. So, have a great weekend. See everyone in the next video.